The city of lights, the capital of excess, where millions come to escape, but thousands can't escape the streets.
The reality hits, and there's nothing that makes it pretty.
You didn't have a safe place to park.
No, there's no safe place to park.
Las Vegas sells dreams. But walk just a few blocks off the Strip, and you'll find a different reality. Tears that don't glitter, lives unraveling in silence. This isn't a story from far away. This is Las Vegas, a city built on ambition, yet one where too many are still searching for something as simple as stability. As highlighted in recent reports from cities like Los Angeles, this growing challenge isn't isolated. It's part of a broader pattern affecting communities across the country. But this documentary isn't about blame. It's about understanding, about looking past headlines and into the lives of real people, neighbors, veterans, parents, each navigating challenges with resilience and quiet strength. So stay with us. As we explore the human side of a city that never sleeps, we'll uncover not just the causes behind this rising crisis, but also the hope, effort, and solutions working quietly in the background. Because what happens in Vegas shouldn't stay hidden. Beyond the dazzling marquees and steady pulse of tourists along the Las Vegas Strip, another city quietly exists. It's not marked by luxury suites or neon light, but by daily survival. And while this side of Las Vegas rarely makes it into travel brochures, it's woven into the city's reality, often just a few blocks away from its most iconic attractions. As the sun rises over Clark County, the energy of the casinos builds. But in the alleyways of downtown, a different morning begins. Individuals stir from sleep on concrete, their belongings tucked carefully in carts or bags. Some emerge from tents, others from beneath overpasses, or in some cases from storm drains beneath the city. Places never designed to be lived in, but repurposed out of necessity. In January 2024, the Southern Nevada Homeless Census and Survey, also known as the point-in-time count, identified 7,906 people experiencing homelessness in Clark County, representing a 20% increase over the previous year. But even this number doesn't fully convey the scope of the issue. It's a snapshot, a moment in time. It does not include the many others living temporarily with friends or cycling through motel rooms without long-term stability. As the Strip comes alive with music and motion, nearby corridors reveal another rhythm. People pushing carts down side streets. Parents navigating sidewalk curbs with children in tow. Seniors resting under shade structures. These are not nameless figures. Many are veterans. Some are service workers who once had stable jobs in the very resorts, now out of reach. Others are young adults who aged out of care systems without a safety net beneath them. Racial disparities remain significant. While African American residents make up a smaller percentage of Clark County's total population, they account for approximately 42% of those experiencing homelessness. Men make up the majority, but the number of families with children in need of housing support is also growing. These are not isolated patterns. They reflect ongoing inequities in housing access, employment stability, and healthcare. Hidden beneath the surface, quite literally, is a network of storm drain tunnels that run beneath parts of the city. Over the years, hundreds have taken shelter in these underground spaces, trying to escape the extremes of desert heat or cold. Here, fragile communities have formed, people building lives with what little they have, often with remarkable organization and care. But these spaces are unsafe, especially during storms, and offer no long-term security. Their existence is a clear signal of a broader system under stress. Shelters in Las Vegas serve 3,704 individuals in that same 2024 count, a positive step forward. But 4,202 people remained unsheltered, sleeping in cars, parks, sidewalks, or places not meant for habitation. The gap between what is available and what is needed continues to widen. For many, Las Vegas, often called the entertainment capital of the world, offers little escape. Instead, it becomes a place where daily survival replaces ambition, where hope becomes something managed in moments rather than planned over years. And while the lights of the Strip shine bright, the lives unfolding in its shadows ask a quieter question. How do we build a city where everyone, not just the lucky few, can find a place to rest and a path forward? Just like we saw in Los Angeles, the crisis unfolding in Las Vegas doesn't come down to one cause. It's the result of many forces moving at once: rising housing costs, unpredictable incomes, and support systems that often can't keep up. And together, these pressures are pushing more and more people closer to the edge. Let's begin with something most of us value deeply: a stable place to live. In Las Vegas, that's becoming harder to find. As of early 2024, the average rent for a modest 2-bedroom apartment is around $1,456 per month. To afford that without being rent burdened, meaning without spending more than 30% of one's income on housing, a person would need to earn roughly $19 an hour, full-time. But that's not the reality for many jobs in this city. Las Vegas leans heavily on industries like tourism, entertainment, hospitality, and food service. These jobs are often part-time, seasonal, or hourly, and they rarely come with benefits or consistent schedules. For workers juggling changing shifts or multiple roles, planning for the future becomes a challenge, sometimes even planning for the week ahead. For households already living paycheck to paycheck, it doesn't take a major crisis to disrupt stability. A flat tire, a reduction in hours, a sudden medical bill. These small moments, ones many of us have experienced, can suddenly become turning points. And when housing costs keep rising, those turning points come faster. Las Vegas also has one of the largest affordable housing shortages in the country. According to recent data, for every 100 extremely low-income families, there are only about 14 affordable rental units available. That means 86 families out of every 100 are left to compete for housing that simply doesn't exist within their means. What happens then? Some move in with relatives, doubling or tripling up in one apartment. Others leave the city entirely, even if that means giving up jobs or support networks. And for a growing number of people, there's simply no place left to go. Even for those who are working, sometimes more than one job, the numbers don't always add up. Essentials like food, gas, insurance, and childcare all climb alongside rent. And while wages might inch upward, they often do so more slowly. Working hard no longer guarantees staying ahead. It's easy to think of this as someone else's issue. But behind every statistic is someone who wants the same things most of us do: a safe place to sleep, a bit of breathing room, and a future they can plan for, not just get through. And maybe that person is closer to your life than it seems: a coworker who's always tired, picking up extra shifts, a friend who moved out of town suddenly, a grandchild trying to live independently, but struggling to make rent. These aren't distant stories. They're unfolding all around us, quietly, and more often than we know. We don't share this to point fingers or assign blame. We share it to see clearly. Homelessness in Las Vegas isn't limited to those seen living in tents or temporary shelters. Over time, the effects of this growing challenge extend far beyond the individuals at its center, reaching into public services, community spaces, and the everyday routines of residents across the city. Let's begin with the climate. Summers in southern Nevada regularly bring triple-digit temperatures. For people without shelter, that means long days in direct sun, often with limited access to cool spaces or clean water. In recent years, local health authorities have linked prolonged heat exposure to serious health consequences, especially for those spending extended time outdoors. Winter may seem mild by comparison, but cold desert nights can also be difficult. Without proper protection or warm clothing, the risks increase, especially for older adults or those managing health conditions. It's not just a matter of comfort. In both extremes, the human body becomes more vulnerable, and access to care is often limited. Many people without stable housing also experience ongoing health issues. A study in Las Vegas found that more than 60% of unsheltered individuals reported having head-related injuries at some point in their lives, and many live with ongoing discomfort, mobility difficulties, or respiratory problems. Without consistent access to clinics or treatment, these conditions often remain unaddressed, affecting not only individual well-being, but also the wider healthcare system. Because preventive care is hard to access, many rely on emergency services when their health needs escalate. That places additional pressure on hospitals and first responders, not just in the areas most visibly impacted, but across the region. When public resources are stretched, wait times increase, staffing is affected, and even those with scheduled appointments may feel the delay. From a financial perspective, the impact is also significant. It's estimated that responding to homelessness through short-term emergency systems can cost as much as $73,000 per person per year, a figure that includes emergency transport, hospital visits, and temporary intervention services. Comparatively, providing housing with long-term support can cost far less, while offering greater stability. For residents not directly affected, the effects may still be felt in quieter ways. Perhaps a visit to the local clinic takes longer than usual. Perhaps a favorite park feels different, more crowded, or less maintained, as city services shift priorities. In retail districts, businesses near visible encampments sometimes report fewer walk-in customers. The impact isn't always dramatic, but it's cumulative. More than anything, this issue raises a question that's less about infrastructure and more about identity. What kind of city do we want to grow older in? One where some are simply left to endure, or one where solutions are shared and dignity is preserved? If your children or grandchildren asked what we did during this moment of change, what would we want to say? Because this isn't only about shelter or systems, it's about the kind of community we choose to build, together. Solving homelessness in Las Vegas isn't about one big fix. It's going to take multiple solutions working together. And just like we saw in the Los Angeles documentary, lasting change means going beyond quick fixes. It means getting to the root of the problem. Let's start with housing, but not just any housing. There's a strategy called Housing First. It's based on a simple idea. Get people into housing first. No strings attached. No requirement to be sober or employed. Just give them a stable place to live. Because once someone has a safe roof over their head, it's a whole lot easier to deal with other challenges, like health, finding work, or rebuilding trust. Cities across the US have seen success with this model. For Las Vegas, expanding Housing First programs and making sure people have access to support services once they're housed could be a major step forward. Next, let's talk about affordable housing. This is a huge piece of the puzzle. Right now, Las Vegas is facing one of the worst shortages of affordable rental homes in the entire country. We're talking about only 14 available units for every 100 extremely low-income households. That gap needs to be closed, fast. That means investing public money in new housing projects, giving tax breaks to developers who include affordable units, and getting creative with options like modular homes or converting unused buildings. It's ambitious, but necessary. But housing alone isn't enough. People need support to stay housed. We need more outreach teams meeting people where they are. We need easier access to healthcare, emotional support, and help with things like job training or navigating paperwork. And the key is making these services work together, not just handing people a list of numbers to call. When services are connected, people don't fall through the cracks. Now, here's a tricky one: community pushback. We can't solve homelessness if we're afraid of solutions showing up in our own neighborhoods. That "not in my backyard" mindset often blocks new shelters or affordable housing from being built. So public education matters. sharing real stories, helping people understand that supportive housing doesn't lower property values, it raises dignity. And when the community gets involved, through volunteering, donations, or just listening, real change can happen. And finally, prevention. What if we helped people before they ended up homeless? Things like emergency rental assistance, eviction prevention programs, or support after a job loss could go a long way. Stabilizing people before they lose their homes is always more effective and more humane than trying to pick up the pieces later. So, where does that leave us? If Las Vegas wants to seriously address homelessness, it's going to take all of these pieces. Prioritizing housing, first building more affordable homes, strengthening support systems, engaging the community, and preventing homelessness before it starts. It won't be easy, but it is possible. And for thousands of people living in uncertainty right now, it's more than possible. It's necessary. Amid all the data, reports, and discussions, some stories bring us back to what this issue is truly about. People. People doing their best under difficult circumstances. People whose lives, like anyone's, can take unexpected turns. Take a long-time hotel housekeeper. She's 52. After over a decade of steady work, a job loss and health issues left her without a place to stay. What hurt most wasn't just the hardship. It was feeling invisible. Fortunately, she eventually connected with a support team that helped her rebuild. Her story had a turning point. But many others aren't so lucky. Housing insecurity is no longer a fringe issue. It's a growing, deeply rooted challenge. Rising living costs, unstable jobs, and a shortage of affordable housing have pushed more people to the edge. And it doesn't take much. A missed paycheck, a medical bill, a personal crisis to tip someone into homelessness. The truth is, most people in these situations aren't irresponsible or unwilling to work. They simply don't have a safety net. And too often, when they seek help, they find fragmented systems, long wait lists, or one-size-fits-all services that don't meet them where they are. If we're serious about addressing this crisis, we need more than emergency shelters or short-term fixes. We need consistent, human-centered support systems that respond with patience, dignity, and flexibility. Because behind every statistic is someone like that long-time hotel housekeeper we talked about earlier. And what they need isn't just housing, it's a way back to stability, purpose, and belonging. Standing on the Las Vegas Strip, surrounded by the glow of marquees, the pulse of music, and the excitement of people chasing dreams, it's easy to get swept up in the energy. This is a city designed for escape, entertainment, and spectacle. But just beyond that glow, something else quietly unfolds. You might notice someone resting near the edge of a casino building, sitting in the early morning stillness. Or a figure pausing beside a busy sidewalk, gathering their belongings before the next wave of foot traffic begins. These are not images staged for attention. They're part of the real daily rhythm of Las Vegas. And that contrast is hard to ignore. Because while some come here in search of once-in-a-lifetime memories, others are simply trying to make it through the day. It's the kind of contrast that makes you pause. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's right there. Quiet, unspoken, present. In a city known for extremes, high stakes, bright lights, bold ambition, perhaps it's no surprise that the gap between comfort and struggle also feels wide. But the visibility of that gap invites deeper questions. How can a place built on hospitality leave so many searching for safety? How can a city with so much beauty still feel unreachable to those who live within it? It's easy sometimes to look away, to assume the situation is someone else's responsibility, or to believe familiar myths. That people struggling must have made poor choices or simply didn't try hard enough. But those assumptions rarely reflect reality. Many of the individuals facing housing challenges today once held steady jobs. They paid rent, raised children, followed routines. What shifted wasn't always a decision. Often, it was a chain of circumstances: rising costs, reduced hours, health setbacks, or the loss of a support system. The more we acknowledge that, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just a matter of housing access. It's a question of how we define community. How we respond to people during uncertain moments speaks volumes. Not just about policy or priorities, but about our values. So maybe next time you find yourself walking the strip, take a moment. Not just to look around, but to notice what's there. Both the joy and the need. Both the celebration and the silence. If you've made it this far, thank you. That means something. It means you're paying attention, not just to the lights of Las Vegas, but to the lives lived in its shadows. We've seen that homelessness here isn't just about tents or statistics. It's about people, families, veterans, seniors, facing some of life's hardest moments with nowhere to turn. But here's the good news. You can help. Start local. Support the organizations doing the work every single day, like the Las Vegas Rescue Mission, Help of Southern Nevada, or Catholic Charities. Whether you give your time, a donation, or even just help spread the word, it matters a lot. Next, speak up. Reach out to your local leaders. Let them know you care about affordable housing, better support services, and real solutions, not quick fixes. Groups like the Nevada Homeless Alliance are already fighting for change, and your voice adds power to that fight. And finally, don't underestimate kindness. A smile, a conversation, a moment of respect. Those small gestures can go a long way toward reminding someone that they still matter, that they're still seen. Because homelessness doesn't define a person. And fixing it? That's not someone else's job. It's all of ours. So if this message moved you, like, share, and subscribe to Discovery Globe. Let's keep this conversation going and be part of building a more compassionate Las Vegas together. Please note, the information in this video is compiled from reliable sources and public reports, aimed at analysis and providing a reference perspective. The video is not intended to incite panic, personal criticism, or provide financial or legal advice. Viewers should consider and verify additional information related to their personal circumstances before making any decisions.